Hello everybody, and welcome back to the next devlog video. Apologies for the delay, been a lot of things going on. Anyway, let's get right into it. Today I am going to be talking about two particular features, crafting and combat. So, here we are once again in the meadow of testing. Let's head on into the cave and try out some combat. So, back here in the cave of testing now. Who knows where we might run into some monsters in here. Okay, there we go. Alright, here we go. Now, how this game works is the battle system is semi-active active time battle system. So basically every character and monster has an ATP gauge that once full, they get a turn. The speed at which it fills is primarily determined by the agility stat. So obviously Ali, being the rogue, having the highest agility in the party generally, is usually going to be charging the fastest. So once it's the character's turn, your options will include a basic attack, either one of their skill trees, defending, or using items. Attack is, basic attack. Defending will reduce incoming damage until their next turn, as well as heal you by a small amount. So it's good if you're getting hammered and just kind of need to hold on for a little bit. It's a good thing to look into. Items, obviously using any items. We don't have anything, so let's go with something a little more interesting. Each of the skill trees has a different emphasis on it. Infiltration, for example, is more utility stuff. Stealing, guaranteed escape from battle, a few different debuffs. Assassination is all about doing damage, as well as, in some cases, setting them up to take even more damage from certain elemental attacks. So, let's see, let's go with Hamstring, lowers agility. Let's go for the Goblin, since he's got a healing skill. Let's keep him from getting a turn. Okay, there go the Hellhounds. Let's throw, let's see. I also got to keep in mind that if you're doing any kind of elemental damage, I believe I mentioned it before, that the elemental system is based on the Chinese 5 elements. So you got to keep in mind what each enemy is strong against or weak against. Let's see, goblins are water, so let's throw some fire at them. Boom! Ah, yeah, there we go. Now, when you're doing the target selection bit, if you hit one of the side keys, you can see different stats about the monsters. Obviously, though, you'll have to defeat a few to actually learn what their various weaknesses and strengths are, but it'll help you keep track of everything. So these guys are doing some damage. Let's see here. Let's see what we can do to stun. There we go. That'll stop them for a turn, reduce the incoming damage. And then throw a Hamstring up, so he charges more slowly. See, Fireball again. Now, every monster, in addition to having the basic attack and defense skills, will also have a variety of special abilities. The Basilisk has a chance, due to its high agility, has a chance to occasionally hit twice, because it's so fast and agile. Or the Hellhound has a small chance of inflicting a temporary poison type ailment on you. Okay, let's do some healing. Make sure everybody stays up. In some cases, monsters will also have various abilities that only kick in when they're getting low on health. A few of them, if you manage to get their health low, will run away, in which case you won't actually get the experience and gold rewards for that. I'm also going to be implementing a hardcore mode for the game, which will of course increase the overall difficulty. A lot of monsters will get access to new abilities that the otherwise wouldn't have. Give you a bit more of a challenge. If you notice before that we defeated a Hellhound, and then also saw that, hey, fire does 150% damage to it, and so those stats were recorded. It's probably also worth mentioning that enemies will also level up alongside you based more or less on the average level of your party, and this kind of maintains a sort of consistent difficulty curve. I mean, just because you've killed 100 basilisks with their 6-inch teeth doesn't mean one biting you is somehow only going to magically scratch you now. I will mention, however, that the power curve for the players is steeper than the curve for the monsters, so as you continue to level up, you will still gain distinct advantages over the monsters. Even if their level matches yours, you'll, on average, still be more powerful after a certain point. I suppose I could talk a little bit about what each of the characters is. Conrad is basically an early game tank for the group. He wears the heaviest armor. However, he fights with spears, so he's also somewhat more an offensive tank than pure defensive abilities, as you might notice from his tactics for having body weight. Lucy is a pure elemental damage mage. Elemental magic covers fire, metal, and earth magic, and then druidism covers wood and water to cover all 5 elements. And then she gets a couple other random support abilities too later on. Alex is the all-rounder of the group. He has limited access to restoration and elemental magic, and then in addition later on in the game he will get access to an additional tree called leadership. He's the only one that gets 3 trees, although restoration and elemental only go up to the first 6 skills as opposed to the full 10. For equipment, he wears basically medium armor and fights with swords and shields, although you do have the option of giving him axes instead if you want to give him a little more melee punch. And Ali is the melee DPS master. Very fast, very agile, relies on doing lots of critical damage, but can also, as I mentioned before, has some support abilities that will ultimately do some damage and weaken the enemy at the same time. And after you finish a fight, you see the experience and job point rewards, some dialogue from... Oops, forgot about that bit. Throw in some dialogue from the characters. It's all stock dialogue right now. I'll throw in some more in-character things for them to say. And then, of course, the rewards that you get at the end, utilizing the random loot system implemented that I mentioned in past videos. So let's see, we got a couple pieces of armor, some broken basic clothes that ultimately do nothing, and a bodice of the villain, which gives a little defense and agility, but as I mentioned before, it's yellow, so it gives a negative penalty. Let's go do some crafting. Okay, head on over here into the Hall of Testing, which, oh, actually, there's something else I wanted to show. I've implemented a system where when you enter certain maps, i.e. all the wilderness maps, there is a small chance that one of these little nodes will appear. This is just the placeholder graphic, but what the actual maps will have will vary between harvest nodes for various resources and treasure chests and other things you can get loot from. There's about a 10% chance for each to drop, which kind of sounds nice, but with 20 scattered around an entire map, that's only going to come to about 1 to 5 at the most on average, I've noticed. And then on top of that, they're scattered across a large map filled with monsters that you have to fight, so pace won't be too high, but it does create a little bit of dynamic content so that every time you come onto the map, there's new stuff to gather. Let's hit the cabinet here, grab some crafting materials. Now, crafting is going to come into 3 categories: fabrication, smithing, and alchemy. Fabrication is kind of a catch-all for basically tailoring, leatherworking, and woodworking. I didn't want to make things too crazy with having a whole bunch of different skills. Smithing is, of course, working with metals to create metal weapons as well as the heavier types of armor, and then alchemy is dealing with creating all the different types of items that you can use: potions, energy drinks, rejuvenation draughts, and other sort of things. So let's take a look at fabrication. Now this is with all the recipes unlocked. Normally you won't know anything past the level 1 recipes, but as you level up your respective skills, you'll automatically learn new recipes. Each of the 3 crafting trees goes up to level 20, so it takes a little bit of work to max it out, but you can create some pretty good stuff. So to start, you'll pick up the random ingredients out in the wild or off of monsters or wherever else. You'll need to refine them. You pick the item you want to make, and then hit create, and there'll be this little timer here. You gotta wait for the bar to turn green, otherwise the crafting attempt fails, and instead of, see here, I get a piece of crafted yew, instead I would have gotten just some worthless wood scraps. So it's not just sitting here hitting a button, there's actually some degree of interactivity here to keep it interesting. Let's make some more yew. Hi kitty, how's it going? Sorry, my cat's coming to say hi. There we go, level up, ding! Alright, let's make a spear. And we've got a spear. Now, items you craft yourself will not have any of the random affixes that you can find with items that drop throughout the world. However, there will be certain vendors scattered around the world you can go to that you can give them a basic item, and they will be able to nanoforge it into something for a nominal fee, of course. Alright, let's take a quick look at smithing. This is much the same. You'll find ore out in the wild, and you turn it into bars of the refined metal. I should mention the total timer here lasts, I believe it's 5 seconds. And the window for you to successfully craft it is, I believe, 2/3 of a second. So make sure you got some good reflexes. However, as well, as you increase in level, the total time goes down. So basically, you'll be able to craft faster and faster. The window for crafting will remain the same size, but the total length of the timer will decrease as you level up. There will also be some cross-discipline work here. You see here that making a hatchet requires crafted yew, and some of the fabrication items will require refined metals of sorts. Alright, and alchemy is probably going to be the most common one you're going to use, just because of the sheer utility of the items you get. You'll find various herbs out in the wild. You turn them into ground herbs, and then you'll also be able to get samples of muddy water that purify and make more usable. I don't know why, but that sound effect really amuses me. Alright, once you get some practice in with the raw ingredients, you'll be able to start making some actual useful items out of it. There we go. And just show what happens when you fail. Oops. So, we go to our items. We see we've got a potion we made. However, you can also see the failed item. Drink too disgusting to consume. You can sell them for a few gold, so you're not completely out if you fail. You also still get 25% experience of whatever it was you were trying to make, so it's not a complete loss if you fail, because a good person learns from their mistakes. But obviously the idea is to not waste all your items making a bunch of useless junk. And I believe that covers everything for today, so thank you again for watching. We are now undergoing pre-alpha testing. Got a few people looking for bugs and giving me a whole bunch of great feedback on things to improve, so hopefully we will have something publicly available soon. Stay tuned for that. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ave Templari.